everyone's been let in from the waiting room.
That's Henry Tenon. He had admitted to carrying out a hit, murdering Microsoft executive Jared Bridegan. Prosecutors say it happened at the request of Bridegan's ex-wife and her new husband, but now Tenon has withdrawn his guilty plea as text messages that prosecutors claim discuss a years-long murder plot come to light. I go over the latest developments in the murder of Jared Bridegan. I'm Angenette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. You know, part of the reason we can cover this case for you here on Law and Crime is because of sponsors like Morgan & Morgan. There's a reason why Crime Fix is one of the top true crime shows on YouTube, just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. For more than 35 years, they've been fighting for people all over the country and have recovered more than $30 billion for clients. The proof is in their track record. With more than 1,000 lawyers across 100 offices nationwide, hiring Morgan & Morgan is like hiring an army to go into battle for you, a team that will fight hard to get their clients the compensation they deserve. Not all law firms are the same. Hire the wrong one, and you may be beat before you even start. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan, and their fee is free unless you win. For more information, you can go to forthepeople.com/crimefix, click the link below, or scan the QR code that you see on your screen. It's been just over 4 years since Jared Bridegan was shot to death in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. And this August, his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, and her estranged husband, Fernandez Saldana, will go on trial accused of conspiring to kill Jared. And when that trial begins, there will be now a third co-defendant, Henry Tenon. Tenon was a former tenant of Fernandez Saldana's who had admitted as part of a plea deal to shooting and killing Bridegan. He said he was hired to do it. Tenon had pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and agreed to testify against Gardner and Saldana, but now that's not going to happen. Before I get to the why of why that's not going to happen, let's do a quick recap of the case. Shanna Gardner met Jared Bridegan in 2009 while visiting a friend in Florida. The following year, they married. When they married, they were both devout Mormons, but things started to go south once their twins were born in 2013. And not long after, Gardner filed for divorce, and she asked for full custody of the twin girls. Fast forward a few years, and Jared Bridegan and Shanna Gardner, they've divorced, and they're both remarried. Gardner to Fernandez Saldana and Jared to his wife Kristen. Prosecutors say Shanna's motive to murder Jared has a few things at play. First, their divorce and custody arrangement for the twins was contentious. Bridegan wanted to raise the girls in the Mormon faith, and they believed Shanna Gardner could have full access to a trust fund if Jared Bridegan was dead. Prosecutors say they uncovered years-old text messages in which Gardner said she wished that Bridegan would just disappear, and she and her friends talked in code about wanting Jared dead. Now we're getting a look at those text messages that prosecutors plan to use as evidence at trial. We're seeing them for the very first time. This text exchange between Shanna and her friend Kim Jensen is from May of 2015. Shanna wrote, "I'm just not having a good day." Kim Jensen responded, "Don't write the day off as bad yet. I'm still trying to send stupid to prison." She added, "If I can't make a casserole, prison is the next best option." There are more text messages, some from 2016, where prosecutors say the women spoke in code. On July 17, 2016, Kimmy wrote to a woman named Susan Lee, "Shanna needs a guy." Susan Lee responded, "What kind of guy?" Kimmy responded, "The kind that performs permanent disappearing acts on certain people." Kimmy added, "Know any magicians?" Susan Lee responded, "Magician. No, that I do not. For stupid?" she asked. Kimmy responded, "I was thinking Thomas, LOL. Susan Lee responded, "He isn't a magician, but I'll ask if he knows any." Susan added, "I'm sure her ex knows a few." We've heard about these text messages and read about them, but now we're seeing them in this drop of discovery, and these texts are from 2016. Prosecutors contend this shows that Shanna Gardner had murder on her mind for years. On the same day, another set of messages between Shanna and Kimmy were released. Shanna wrote, "I'm at church. I'm fabulous," with a straight face emoji, "my favorite place on earth." Kimmy responded, "Deep breaths. It's going to be okay. I'll talk to you as soon as you get out. Just breathe. You'll work out all of this frustration at the gym later." And then part of the text is blacked out as a redaction citing an active criminal investigation. Kimmy then typed, "He hates him." Kimmy added, "If not, I know Sue's husband knows people, LOL. Shanna responded, "Just when I think doing this whole 1 week off/on thing is a good idea, it gives me such great pleasure imagining slitting his throat." The next text message is also blacked out. It's redacted, citing it's protected because it could include the substance of a confession or information about an informant. Now, these text messages are from 2016, a full 5.5 years before Jared Bridegan was murdered. There are also text messages from August of 2022, months after Jared was murdered, where Shanna tells Kimmy, "I don't want anyone to know," and Kimmy responds, "I'm not." Prosecutors will introduce these to show that Shanna Gardner had a years-long, deep-seated hatred for Jared and had possibly plotted to murder him for many, many years. But what will the defense do? Well, they may just say this is a frustrated ex-wife blowing off steam to friends and that prosecutors are simply reading too much into these texts. Also released, this report showing the ATF conducted what they called a controlled call with a cooperating witness on October 7th, 2023. The report is marked restricted. The report states the person who is the subject of an active criminal investigation told Fernandez Saldana the ATF had forced entry into the residence the previous day, damaging the front door's lock, which required repair. The person said he or she had multiple items taken from the house. During the conversation, the person told Fernandez Saldana they were looking for something, then asked Fernandez Saldana if he had anything at the house. Fernandez Saldana replied he did not own anything in the residence. The call lasted 4 minutes, 8 seconds. The evidentiary value of this call isn't clear at this point, but it could become more clear at trial. At the time that Jared Bridegan was murdered in February of 2022, he had remarried to a woman named Kristen. I mentioned that earlier, and he was happy. But Jared still shared those twins with Shanna Gardner, and prosecutors say that was part of this years-long plot to carry out Jared's murder. Prosecutors will say that Shanna wanted full custody of the twins and full access to that trust fund I mentioned, and that was the motive. So the theory is that Shanna Gardner and her estranged husband hired 62-year-old Henry Tenon to kill Jared Bridegan. Tenon was a tenant of Fernandez Saldana's. Prosecutors have already revealed these checks written by Fernandez Saldana to Tenon for thousands of dollars. One is labeled a Kickstarter. It says "Good luck" in the memo line. On February 16, 2022, Jared Bridegan was murdered in Jacksonville Beach with his 2-year-old daughter strapped in her car seat. A police summary says Bridegan was driving home on a dark, isolated road named Sanctuary Boulevard with his 2-year-old daughter. He stopped, put on his hazard lights, and stepped out to remove a large tire lying in the roadway. That is when he shot multiple times. At first, Bridegan's murder appeared to be random, but there were some things that showed it was anything but, including that tire in the road. Security footage recorded a pickup truck in the area at the time of the murder, which led Jacksonville Beach police to Henry Tenon. Police would later discover Tenon was Fernandez Saldana's tenant. Prosecutors say Fernandez Saldana was going to pay Tenon $150,000 to carry out that hit. 18 months after the murder, a grand jury indicted both Gardner and Fernandez Saldana for their roles in this plot.
3026. They're making contact at the front door right now.
On August 17, 2023, officers took Shanna Gardner into custody in Washington State. It takes several minutes, but Gardner finally emerges from the home.
Good. It's going to be the white vehicle back there. We'll go to the passenger side. Yep.
a stop?
Is that property?
Medicine. Good? I'm good, thank you. That's your medicines. I don't know what y'all want to do with it, but most of them are prescription. So we'll follow you over to,
So, the detective was saying going to the PD. We do have interview rooms
perfect.
within the PD, so we could take her over there.
That's, yeah. that
Pull her
works.
out.
Yeah, if you want to bring her there, and then we'll follow behind you and we'll go in.
Okay.
Okay.
So, just a heads up, I don't know if the jail is going to take anything not in the bottle. Okay. Otherwise, it looks like everything else is good to go.
I'll leave y'all up to whatever you guys decide.
We could try, but I think the jail will probably say no to that.
That's fine.
Mileage is 10.1. Perfect, thank you. You getting any air back there? Is it hot back there?
Gardner declined to speak with the officers at the police department. Now to Henry Tenon, the one-time confessed hitman who was supposed to be the state's star witness at trial.
How old's your dog?
Huh?
How old's your dog?
14 months.
Oh, dang, still a puppy.
Yeah.
Pretty little dog. Hello.
Exactly a year earlier, police came across Tenon. They took him into an interview room, and he was there for a long, long time, more than 5 hours.
But guess what we can't control? What's next?
Every day.
That's what we get to control, Henry. What's next? How am I remembered? How do I want to go out of this world? A man of character, a man who did what's right, or just some chump? Because that's what we're being played for right now, is chumps. We ain't no chumps, Henry. I know you ain't no chump. When I said respect, I meant it. I give you the same respect you give me. You've been respectful to me. I haven't raised my voice at you. You haven't raised your voice at me. We've disagreed. We know we're not on the same page, but we both know we can get there. We both know that. I know you.
Much of Henry Tenon's police interview is redacted, likely because he makes admissions. Then he asks for a lawyer.
Ain't nothing else I can do you. I don't think I need an attorney.
Tenon had pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and he agreed to testify against Gardner and Fernandez Saldana at trial. He would be their star witness, but now that is no longer happening.
And good morning, Your Honor. Julie Schlax appearing on behalf of Mr. Tenon. Your Honor, we did file on Friday a motion to withdraw his previously entered plea, and the court was kind enough to place the case on the calendar this morning for us to determine when during the week the court had time to do that. Okay.
Henry Tenon has withdrawn his guilty plea. He's rolling the dice, and he's going to trial.
On Friday, we did file this motion to withdraw plea pursuant to 3.170 subsection F. And specifically, we're asking this court to use her discretion and allow Mr. Tenon to have a trial on the merits in his case. Your Honor, we have not alleged any wrongdoing. We are just simply asking for the court to use her available discretion, since Mr. Tenon has not been sentenced, to set this case for trial and proceed to trial.
What's a good cause?
We are not articulating a good cause, Your Honor. That's why we are simply asking under 3.170 for the court to use her ability to grant a trial on the merits.
Okay.
And the state has no objection to the court granting that motion with forward to a trial. At the same time, the state is not filing a motion from the state's perspective, to have the defendant's plea agreement undone. And the state would have no objection to the court sentences proceeds to sentencing right now, or in the next few weeks with the defendant. So we leave it up to the court's discretion. We have no objection to the granting of the motion.
The judge then questioned Henry Tenon about what exactly he wanted to do.
So what do you want? Let me just put it simply. What do you want to do? Do you want to maintain your plea or do you want to try?
No, withdraw.
All right. You got it. It's granted.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. The motion withdraw, his plea is granted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
So there you hear it. He wants a trial. So all three defendants are going on trial for the murder of Jared Bridegan. A jury will decide whether there is enough evidence to find all of them guilty of the conspiracy to murder Jared Bridegan or not. I should mention that all of them have pleaded not guilty, so the trial will start in August. And that is it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.